C'est 17h23 minutes. C'est 17h23 minutes. Son cheval est son partenaire. Parfois, il rencontre des Indiens, mais la rue est vers l'or et son seul destin. Sa vie est un cours que l'on connaît par cœur. La rivière s'en retourne d'Otto Preminger, tandis que John Wayne est monté à la lutte. Fort comme un archibald, on peut pas mieux. Hollywood, New Bern, Hollywood, Bern. C'est la vie de tous les jours comme dans les nouvelles westerns. Oh, I'm so happy, I'm so free, I'm gonna still be me while you all pray to God. Oh, please, please, I'm gonna be out here laughing at you on your knees while I'm puffing trees. Open up the next one. Il entre dans le bar, commande un indien, tape la mousse, boit, repose le verre sur le zinc, une touche de se passe. Sauf des types se volent pour des motifs utiles comme pas des nouveaux westerns. Westbound. It's the feeding us good at. Les States sont une sorte de multinationale, elle exporte le western et son modèle féodal. Dicte le bien le mal, le public et les Dalton sont camouflés en faux suisse de Weston. On dit que ce qui compte c'est le décor. La vie est totalement dans la vie, c'est l'or, les équipes se perfectionnent. La carte s'affiche en place de Remington. Mais arrive à Paris, n'a pas eu de chance. On le stoppe sur le périph' avec sa diligence, puis on le place après. Pour que bananas will soon be a luxury because there are not enough people in the Philippines to take them. Oh, screws, that's good for you. What, with the news? No. Parfois, la vie ressemble à une balle perdue dans le système moderne qui noir la tout pour rester lucide et sa protège de prendre désormais on prend une de l'échiquier blanche et la chevauchée fantastique qui va contre le qui vient moins dans le monde du rêve interné par un happy end est aussi le cas dans ce que l'on appelle le nouveau western. Le nouveau western. Le nouveau western. And so we are able to move very quickly to increase the spaces across the province. Some hospitals.
Oh, these bastards don't celebrate 416 Day. We do.
Grand River Hospital
like 311 Day or
to do that. Some are proposing to build a more tent hospitals. That's the one that's already been created at Joseph Brand Hospital. Others are creating more field hospitals.
We got that tennis tent down on the harbor front, and they ain't allowed to play tennis no more.
In different parts of the province. But what we're waiting to see is hotspots that may develop where we need to increase the capacity. We can do that very quickly because we are ready to go. We have the plans in place. We have the teams ready to move in with that. But in addition to the physical capacity, we're also expanding the human resource capacity. That is with the portal that's been open to allow people with experience to come back, retired nurses, medical students are helping us with contact tracing, and others are coming forward helping physicians coming to work into our hospitals.
17h26 minutes. 17h26 minutes.
We are ready to move immediately to increase capacity both in terms of space.
19 avec le 19, 17 avec le 19.
And then, thank you, Minister. And then just to follow up and just sort of to amend my earlier question where I said you can't have a bed for every COVID-19 patient. It almost sounds like you are, sorry, yes, this is another question for Mr. Elliott. It almost sounds like you are suggesting that there could be a bed for every COVID-19 patient in Ontario. Is that feasible?
Yes, we are planning for a surge in capacity. We don't want to end up like some other countries have ended up where they've run out of supplies. Ontario is ready. As I said earlier in my remarks, we planned for the worst case scenario and have planned for that. So we are ready.
You have not,
ventilators now for
you had
800. We are working with the auto parts manufacturers
to
build another 10,000 respirators. So we are still building our capacity because we don't know. We haven't hit the peak yet. So our chief medical officer of health tells us. So we need to continue to be able to plan, to be ready, and to make sure that if we do have a number of patients, a significant increase in patients, that our hospitals will be able to accommodate patients. Next question.
Next question.
Next question comes from Travis Denrush from Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi there, Premier. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said the Quebec government has asked for the federal government to assist with long-term care homes in that province, and Ottawa is looking at the possibility of sending in military help. Has Ontario asked for help from the military?
No, we are the Army, bro.
Well, we haven't asked as of yet, but everything's on the table.
Nous sommes avec toi, Monsieur Ford. Tu n'as pas besoin
from the command table, but they need their support. They'll be there.
Nous sommes ici maintenant, monsieur. Tell them to shut the ferme the bush, monsieur.
We're already here. Is offered, so we won't hesitate to ask for the support if needed.
Oh, good. Phone's right there.
Questions for Minister Fullerton. Dr. David Williams, when asked yesterday, said policies around long-term care facilities are determined by the Ministry of Long-Term Care. You said just now that you are relying on the advice of him. So it seems as though the buck is being passed around from this 1 o'clock news conference to the 3 o'clock news conference with him. Who makes the ultimate call, and why did the ministry act faster to implement some of these changes that won't be in place until next Wednesday?
So for the emergency order this time requiring staff to work at only one home, that gradual time over a span of a week was to allow the homes to adapt so that they were not left without staff. And so that was a very, very important consideration. Let me just clarify the role of the Chief Medical Officer of Health and Public Health. They have a very specific job to do. They are the people who work, and I was on the Board of Health for a number of years in Ottawa, so I understand this very well. They act on the scientific information and medical information and the evidence, and they will make recommendations to the ministry. They also issue directives. As a Ministry of Long-Term Care, we have levers in there that are regulatory, and we can adjust those levers. But let me make sure that everyone in Ontario knows how closely we've been working with the Chief Medical Officer of Health and Public Health in a timely way to understand every single measure that we can take, particularly that is science and evidence-based. So I'm pretty sure that you want people who are up to date on all the science and evidence, and the politicians can do their regulatory work, and that's the division.
And you're listening to a provincial update on COVID-19 from the Premier, along with the Ministers of Health and Long-Term Care. This is 680 News.
#1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve Roberts. And good afternoon. It's Thursday, April 16th.
For Steve Roberts, I'm Alex Bloomfield. Here's what's making news this hour.
Ontario has updated its COVID-19 testing guidelines as it looks to increase the number of people being tested.
As President Trump looks to reopen the Canada-U.S. border, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says restrictions will stay in place for some time. This comes as feds expand financial assistance for small businesses.
I don't care if U.S. Customs says you can come in, CBSA says you can come in. You're going to come around that corner and get fucking blasted, bro. Stay on your side of the line, bro.
Left off the new
You
PGA Tour
sicko.
schedule, and MJ calls his last year trying. Sports at 45.
Most markets
Who the
moving
fuck is
lower,
MJ?
though the Dow is off its low for the day. Shares in Boeing await on Wall Street, and the
Jordan
price for
don't
oil
play.
slides
Jackson's
again. Business at
Magic
56.
Johnson is 8. So what the fuck's he talking about?
680 News Time, 1:31.
Time for traffic and weather together all at once. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Mazda of Toronto.
Là-haut dans les phares, ce seront poussés vers l'intérieur. Le mauvais temps de noyer les cœurs. Un geste sera posé, le cœur de phare pour te hisser. Là-haut dans les phares.
See, the trick with eating institutional food, or any food, you mix it all together when you get it. Look, see, piece of bread. What would you do? Plain piece of bread. I'll just eat the bread, and I'll just eat the meat, and then I'll scoop up the tzatziki. No, you're doing it wrong, bro. By the way, Greek food is great. The souvlaki, the tzatziki, the feta, the Greek salads. How the fuck did you screw up yogurt? Stay out of the yogurt business. Serious. You do everything else great. Yogurt, I don't know. Maybe you guys like your yogurt. I can't stand it. Please stay out of the yogurt business.
Ain't pulling up with no front. American muscle that foot. Let's take it back to that run. Can't match that score. Yeah, you can't find another number for it. When the number sure that's 100 more. I got 100 cars on the tally point for the rugged raw with a line spot. Lines cut for my iron king. I got an iron boy with a press niggas. I hammer car. You niggas soft like why you niggas want drama for? For now my niggas are press pinnacles like dinosaurs playing Diana Ross to get my binder cross like an arrow dust. Beware of us. New Toronto, we're old Toronto. Same shit. Nah, just keep six, cause six up whenever Drake snitch. New Toronto, we're old Toronto, same shit. Nah, just keep six, cause six up whenever Drake snitch.
Smith, stay here for still mansion, bro. You can't walk down the street on a good day. What the fuck you doing these days, Drake? Aubrey.
Hello. This call is from the Tax Department of Canada Revenue Agency. The reason behind this call is that there is a case, a lawsuit, that is getting filed under your name. The moment you receive this message, I need
until we hit 14,000 tests a day by the end of this month.
9,000 tests were completed yesterday. The results were
14
new COVID-19 cases, 38 more deaths. That brings the province to a total of 8,961 cases, including 423 people who've lost their lives. Reporting live, Irene Precklett, 680 News.
The Prime Minister says his government is increasing assistance for small businesses, and it's not thinking about ending the economic shutdown or the restrictions at the Canada-U.S. border anytime soon. We get the latest from our Parliament Hill reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
Some are getting anxious to reopen the economy and the Canada-U.S. border, including President Donald Trump, who has suggested that restrictions could be lifted sooner rather than later. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that's not on the table.
He's Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Army. I'm here in Canada. I gotta listen to these guys. Sorry, Trump. Go fuck yourself. Come across that border, Mr. Trump. Watch
travel expires in a few days, but Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland says
billionaire brains all over the fucking road, buddy.
We are currently having very constructive and productive conversations with our American neighbors about precisely that.
Meanwhile, for our economy, the Prime Minister announcing the government will expand the eligibility criteria for the Canada Emergency Business Account Program, which provides government-backed interest-free loans to small businesses. It will now be available for any business that spends $20,000 to $1.5 million on payroll. Trudeau also says there will be help with rent.
This program will provide support to help small businesses with their rent for the months of April, May, and June.
So if you evict a business tenant, you ain't going to get your assistance from the government. That's simple.
News Time 136. We got an update today on the status of supplies of personal protective
fear
equipment.
The wolf, but the shepherd, the slaughter you.
Says 6 flights from China have already arrived.
We expect approximately 4 more in the next week carrying a variety of goods from China, including N95 masks. These flights are, of course, in addition to goods that arrive by other means.
She says 17 million surgical masks and 800,000 N95 respirators are on Canadian soil and will be distributed to the provinces and territories this week.
Well, some frontline workers are calling for more support for those forced to work amid risky conditions during this pandemic. 680's Momin Qureshi joins us live with more on that story. Momin.
A number of concerns being raised, Sarah, by some frontline workers, including nurses, people who work at long-term care homes and other places. Carolina Jimenez is a nurse who says the issue started before the pandemic began, but the pandemic has made them worse.
Workers across Canada are demanding the immediate implementation of at least 14 paid sick leave days during pandemic and other public health emergencies, plus 7 permanent paid sick days for all workers in Ontario.
Made in
The
USA.
other concerns is the province putting down the order that you can only work in one long-term care home and not multiple. The issue there is that some of these nurses and people who work in those homes say they have to do it because they don't make enough money in one of those homes. So they'll have to choose and then thereby suffer for the safety of the patients. Reporting live, I'm Momin Qureshi.
680 News Time, 1:37. One of the jewels of the national sports calendar has been canceled due to COVID-19.
The PGA Tour has canceled the RBC Canadian Open as part of its revamped 2020 schedule. The 4-day tournament was set to begin June 11th at St. George's Golf and Country Club in Toronto. The Canadian Open was first played in 1904. It's the third oldest continuously running tournament on the PGA Tour after the British Open and the US Open. It's the first time the tournament's been canceled since 1944.
You can say World War II, you whore. We know what it is.
To produce pandemic-specific commercials during these unprecedented times, but a marketing expert says one ad hits the mark perfectly, and it was out there before the coronavirus outbreak began.
Was it a Corona ad?
Chris McCusker explains. Dr. Joanne McNeish is an associate professor at Ryerson University in Toronto, and she's seen a number of hits and misses over the last couple of weeks, but one commercial stands out in particular.
The Ritz Cracker commercial. The tagline, it's not a fancy night out, it's a fancy night in. And they have 2 gorgeous young girls who are twirling and dancing for their parents who are also dressed up, and they're enjoying a plate of Ritz Crackers.
And the timing here is perfect.
It was a cute commercial before COVID.
It's not cute.
Holy cow.
It's Kraft or Mr. Christie or Nabisco or Nestle or whatever.
But rather we're
it's not funny.
Having fun.
It's not cute.
With our
You've now wasted 2 minutes of news airtime talking about a 30-second commercial. And you didn't get paid for doing that.
News Time, 1:39.
You're going to analyze advertising? I'm going to tell you right now, hashtag advertising. I don't want to see white people eating white Ritz crackers. Ritz, DJ Ritz, glow-in-the-dark DJ, he's white. You forgot about that part of the culture, eh? We don't think of Ritz crackers. We think of DJ Ritz. White people eating white crackers saying things are all right. We're going to stay in. We're not going out. We're staying. Leave the niggers out there in the night, in the darkness where everything's bad. And we'll stay. You see how quickly I found the racism in the advertisement? And this dumb whore. I can hear you're white with your voice telling me how cute the commercial is. It's not cute. Oh, it's cute. Dead white babies are cute. Dead white babies are cute. The living ones are disgusting, full of disease, ugly, inbred. They're crooked. They got one eye bigger than the other and shit. Oh yeah, white babies are horrible. If I ever get a white girl knocked up, you're gonna hear a horror story out there.
In the Princess Margaret Lottery, the incredible $6.8 million grand prize, a contemporary $1.6 million Upper Beaches grand prize, a stunning country home, and the beautiful Kawartha Lakefront Cottage.
Yeah, I'm just a shock jock saying it, eh? Did you just say cold deep? No, maybe I'm tripping. I got lead weights all over my floor now because I just knocked them over. Hold on. Don't step back from this. Okay, now you can get up close to the screen. What was that? I can't hear you. Put the money under here. I'm not even joking. This shit's showing up in the neighborhood because they're installing it everywhere. So what are they going to do with this piece? Nothing. They can't use this piece. I will. I'll use this piece. Put it like on the table where I'm sitting. I'll make a portable one and sit it on the fucking chess table or the picnic table in the park. No. You sit down first and then pick up the handset. We'll do the whole thing. We'll put on a whole show for the fucking government to watch.